Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Chambers Podcast. Okay, like we practice to become better at that. But welcome back to our podcast. We're very excited. I think you can see we are full house today. Shalwe na Nderemo kidogo. Kuna mtu alikuwa amepotea kidogo. Unataka kutuambia venye nyumbani ilikuwa kidogo haircut hapo.
Salimia wenyewe na kijiji hamjambo. Wapenzi wasikilizaji, nimefurahia sana kuwa nimerudi. Ni wasikilizaji. Mpenzi mtazamaji na msikilizaji, asante sana kwa kuwa hapa. I'm just saying I can do radio. But asanteni sana. I know you guys missed me. I know the people here really missed me.
Okay, all we are saying is welcome back. Welcome back.
Asanteni sana. Mstete.
Miss.
Yeah, to go to me.
It's all right. It's cool.
So we want to dive right into the topic for today, which is practice makes perfect. Yeah, to go to me.
It's all right.
Of course.
It's cool.
So we want to dive right into the topic for today, which is practice makes perfect. I feel like saying practice makes perfect ? Like does it? So sijui tuanze na definitions ama kila mtu anajua definitions tuendelee tu tusonge.
No, I think we should start with a definition for everyone. Besides us, I think just for everyone who's watching us, I think we'd want for them to understand what that phrase means.
Kwa sababu wao hawajui ama wanajua ndio tunawaambia.
Wanaweza
kuongezea knowledge.
No, you're just adding knowledge.
It has different meanings
by the way.
Different people.
I think different people understand it differently.
Okay, how do you understand it? What's practice? Okay, what's practice for you? And what is perfect for you exactly?
Practice for me is doing something continuously and consistently. And perfect, there's no perfect for me. I don't have anything that perfect. There's no perfect for me when it comes to practicing. And perfect, they don't go.
Okay, what is the definition of perfect?
Perfect. I don't have the definition of perfect for me.
Okay. So Angela, what's your definition of perfect?
So I'd say being perfect is having growth in whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what would you say perfect is? If someone tells you are perfect, what does that mean? Tuseme achana na kuya, like what English dictionary ama Angie's dictionary, what is perfect?
Superb. What's
perfect?
Let me tell you.
Imeenda shule haribu.
No, I just want to say like I cannot, if we are talking about practice making perfect, I cannot define perfect as perfect. I have to define it as perfect.
Let me tell you.
Okay.
Answer the question asked. Unajua venye mtihani examiner akiset swali. See up to you.
Max scheme ni moja.
Unajua ukienda pale uone hauna content unasema
maneno mingi.
Unasema kufanya mambo yake.
Wacha nicheke kidogo. This is a side story. Kuna time in campus like watu akacheo kama mjui questions nimeset uswet swali yako na ujibu.
Are you serious?
And we did that and we did not fail the unit.
Wow. Wherever that lecturer is, please.
Abarikiwe.
The goal of that lecturer, please. Shika lecturer.
If you had set on this, these are the answers. Like that.
Man,
But anyway, I think if you talk about perfect, perfect is like being really good at something. Really good.
So, if I say Angie is perfect, it means she's really good at what?
No, now that's the problem.
No. Mimi nimeuliza definition of term.
Really good at something. Unajua perfect.
So I can't
unajua
say.
kuna word inakuwa na definitions ka 4. So mimi when I'm looking at like your example of Angie, she is perfect at something.
No,
I'm serious.
like the lawyer he is.
I know. He wants to be politically correct because he knows kwenye tutamshikia.
Yeah.
So like if now when you talk about Angie being perfect, you're talking about her as a person.
Yes.
Like everything about her is perfect.
Yes.
But that's not what I mean.
Okay, what I'm asking is if I say perfect, what do I mean? That's what I just...
With this context, with the context of what we're talking about.
Without context, like the way I would ask, what is a boy? Boy definition yake ni nini? Utasema a young male child. Sindo?
Unajua okay. That is acha. Niko some exacerbate nini like if we look at
to me English.
I'm looking at a word.
To me English.
I'm actually looking at a simple word that has.
To me English hiyo kubwa tu.
That's what I'm saying.
A word that has many different meanings. So perfect can be I'm perfect at tuseme running.
Yes,
running.
yes.
But you can also say that Angie is perfect. When tukisema Angie is perfect, I'm looking at like everything about her.
Yeah, it's good.
Is what?
It's
just yo.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. No, is what?
Nikisema now she's perfect at singing. Now I mean that specific
okay,
thing.
sawa. Wacha mimi nipe definition yangu kwa sababu wewe umekataa. I think perfect just means being without blemish, without fault, without flaws, like isipatikane iko na shida yoyote.
So according to your definition, I'd say you mean you're seeking the approval of everyone around.
I feel like that's very relative because it can be perfect. Now there we can say it can vary with someone. Something perfect to me might not be perfect to you. Something
that's
perfect.
The point.
You see, that's what I wanted you to.
But don't you think at the same time when you're saying now it's without blemish or you're perfect, I think everyone now will accept with it. Something that's that perfect.
Universally accepted.
Yeah, universally accepted. Like with our definition.
Oh, with that definition.
Yeah, with that definition, I think it will be universally accepted.
It's not subjective. It has to be. Okay, fine. So the perfect tunasemanga ni good, extremely good. Now let's go to practice makes perfect. How practical is it? Tumesema practice is doing something over and over again. Then we've said perfect is something that is universally good, extremely good.
Hatujasema hivyo. Wewe
okay, mimi nimesema.
Mimi nimekubaliana.
Huyu amekubaliana. Wewe umekubaliana. Okay, haya wewe umesema.
Okay. Perfect about when you amesema mimi yangu hapana. Perfect is dependent on what you consider perfect.
So it's subjective.
Relative.
It's dependent on a person.
Yes.
Sawa. So according to all those definitions, practice continuously doing something does it make sense to say practice makes perfect?
Just to think thinking of it the other day, Revochilo was saying, I think she's good at there are things she does she's really, really good at, but she can't consider herself being that better to that place where she can say she's perfect. Like she meets these people who are saying, man, I'm perfect at these. Alikuwa anasemaje? That's a lot of show off. Alisema, for you to know if you'll be perfect, wait until you go into heaven. That's when you can know if you are perfect at this thing which you are doing. You can be good at something, but
really good
you're really good, but you can't be that perfect. When you say perfect, it means you have mastered this thing to a level where, like, like there's no blemish, like there's no error at all.
As in not
even. There's no margin of error. Akuna, like you are doing this 100%. Thing, the flawless to kiana.
Yeah.
Nini naona mko na agenda.
No.
Let me tell you.
This is okay,
Practice makes perfect as a phrase. Ni kama these other idioms we use. Nimejaribu kufikiria moja lakini ninakuja enyewe kizungu.
And God helps those who help themselves.
It's something like that. You can't like take a specific word, like one word, give it its definition literally. And then you now take the literal meaning hivo. Practice makes perfect means when you keep on working at something, you become proficient at it. Being proficient does not mean like you've achieved like now what you're talking about without blemish, without like you're just there. Yeah. Being proficient means like you are really, really good at it. So for me, if I consider Angela's running as perfect, I mean
you agree with it? It means you agree with it.
Juali nitoroka anyway. Nini? Anyway, what I mean
okay,
is
do we need to like take a break? Are you healed and moved on? Are you okay?
Itabidi uongeleshe kijana
vizuri.
Afungue roho.
Please ongea kidogo.
What I mean is the last time I was here on session but kuna mambo alisema nikafurahia. So I mean just being proficient at it. What I define perfect is now hapo. Kama niko sawa that's
okay. Yeah. So what would you say? Would you say practice makes perfect with your definition and understanding of practice and perfect?
I kinda I'm going to agree with what Calvin is saying. Being practice makes perfect in the sense that when you continue doing something, you become better at it, and you're able to achieve the best out of whatever you're doing. So
But I think just looking at it, she's agreeing with what he's saying. At the same time, what you are saying, combining with what she's saying, that's where the problem comes in. Now, how many people in the society, considering these, how many people have taken the literal meaning of this idiom and have put it into practice? How many? You know, it's so good with the definition of what you're giving us. It's really, really nice.
It sounds perfect.
Yeah, it's good. But now the problem is how many people take it as it is, as to its meaning. How many people do it? Like now, I think most people have misconstrued its meaning. Now, its meaning to mean like you need now to work, like you need to attain this perfection in life. I think people have taken it literally. In as much as they're saying there's a meaning behind it, I don't think many people follow or look after the meaning. And now, whatever she's saying, Kiasi, whatever you're saying, that you need to practice. I think now combining what you are saying and the literal meaning and what she's saying, now it makes it worse. It makes the world.
Don't you think that's why we are here? To demystify this thing and let people know that perfect does not have to be without blemish. Perfect is what you set, the standard you set for yourself, and that doesn't mean you like set the highest unattainable standards. No, if I want to be perfect at something I've never done, say what
running, okay.
Let's use swimming. If I want to be perfect at swimming, it doesn't mean that now I need to make sure number one sitaenda kusink deep end. No.
Let me
means
ask,
taking steps.
Let me ask you, why then not just change the statement? Why are we trying to change the definition of a word? Why don't we just restructure that sentence to now make and apply to everyone? Because we can say, instead of saying practice makes perfect, we can now imply and say, like, what is important is not necessarily that attaining of perfection, because that is what the statement entails, but talking about the progress as you do the practice.
You know that's what the phrase means. Don't change the phrase because you want to insert your own words. The phrase means practice makes perfect, means you're becoming proficient in it. You're not becoming
you know something is you know you're a lawyer, and there's interpretation of statutes.
Exactly.
There's literally
how you interpret it.
So
there's the literal meaning and how you decide to interpret it. So the literal meaning is that practice makes it perfect.
Let me tell you. After literal interpretation, what comes next? The literal interpretation means you take each word for it. After the literal interpretation, you now take the statement as is. Now defining the statement as defining the statement as is what I'm talking about. I'm looking at it as the phrase, not as the word.
But how many? So but you know what? I think you should look at it from this point. Life is so easy.
Before you say what you're saying, just know we are here to demystify.
I know.
You know what I'm even thinking? Our point is to help people who are, or rather, to just talk about how sometimes, because our point is, sometimes we might look at practice makes perfect and feel like because we're talking about perfect and it being so unattainable, we can't reach it. So afadhali we don't practice. But what we want to encourage people, yes, venye unasema mtu anaweza ongelea hiyo practice makes perfect, but what is more important is the progress. Like, I think the point where all of us, including yourself, are trying to pass across is that not looking at it in terms of it being perfect seems very unattainable, but looking at it more in terms of progress. Can we agree on that?
We agree on that.
We can agree on that.
It's a good one. But before we get there, I think there are things we need to discuss. Like this one, I'm saying, like practice. In this sense, looking at it from this point where practice makes perfect, it should be like perfect for you. It should be relative, Sindio. But is it really that way? Honestly. Is it really no?
It's very relative.
No. But let me ask. Is it really relative? Is it always personal? Because most of the time, the standards we are really trying to achieve, it's what the society has set them there as equal. Like, we need to achieve this in order to be considered. Now we are doing the perfect thing.
I think if you look at it, like even amongst us who are here, we all have our different interpretations, our different meanings of what perfect is.
Yes.
Kwa hivyo you can't say like ukitumia hii tu inaitangwaje hii kama as the study group. It means different people have their different interpretations.
But how many times do you follow your interpretation of perfect? How many times?
Because yes, Angie.
So for me, I'd say for being perfect for me, I don't try to win the approval of people. I just try to win the approval of God. If I win the approval of God, then I'm perfect at it. If you see that I'm not good or even perfect at whatever I'm doing, that's your case, but not my case.
Yeah, it's a good thing. But I know they are nice words that you're saying. But how many times? Let me ask you, why are you going to school right now? Why are you in school?
To study and
And
Some pesa.
yeah, money,
To
because,
build your
because that's the standard which society has set there for perfection. Go to school, finish, graduate, come and get a good job. That's that's the standard the society. Because I know a few people who went to school to be genuinely just educated, genuinely, not to come here out here to look for employment later, but to genuinely just to get knowledge.
Now, you see, I accept and I agree that there's that set standard. But if you look at things right now, there has been a lot of rallying and pushing people to understand that you don't have to go to school to get the money, Cindy.
Yeah.
You don't have to like use the education, university to get money. So ideally, the society has now started seeing that is not what perfect is. Perfect can be you using this other route.
To be honest, that's the minority. Like, yes, that's where we hope. Yeah, that's where we hope to be or to get to such a place. But it is the minority. A lot of people. Okay, and then also, I think there's also this other side of people have seen that sometimes, okay, like I know of a case of someone, personal story, they didn't go to campus. They started doing coding and, software engineering, development, yada, yada. But then it got to a point where they were asked for these papers and they don't have the papers. So they still need to go to school. So I feel like it is a matter of like knowing both sides of the story. Yeah.
So wacha niwaambie wafuasi wangu, let me tell you, perfect is what you decide.
Don't you think then don't you think then if we are talking about, because now what you're talking about is society expectations, like the issue with being perfect, or where the problem with people who, are struggle with the word perfect is because of society expectations. Then do we now turn and address the matter of society expectations and how that is not necessarily the standard one needs to live by, or what?
I think for me, I'd say this. When it comes to societal expectation and practice making it perfect, I think I'd say, man, societal expectation out there. And I don't believe in this phrase that practice makes perfect. I don't believe in it, honestly. There's nothing like, for me, I understand it this way. Practice makes improvements. That's what I understand. Practice makes improvements. I know practice doesn't make perfect. You can practice, you can practice. I think if we see it from this point, it will really, really help us, because some people, I think most of us are struggling in schools. People are struggling. Why? Because uko hapo, like the little effort you put in, no one tells you, no one encourages you, no one sees that effort that you're putting in there to tell you, man, what you're doing, think like it's good. I think I always use this example when you're in school. I think most parents don't see. I think these should go to parents. Someone who is in school, we imagine someone, mtu alikuwa anapanga, mimi kama nilikuwa napanga math, I used to really nilikuwa naona giza.
nilikuwa nangoja useme math, nilikuwa napata ile kitu.
Naweza mwambia mimi, but then I'm never ashamed of what I used to get in high school. Math mimi nilikuwa napita majezi tu. Majezi
pale 11, 12, 14.
Yeah. and then the one thing the one thing I used to struggle with, when you imagine, I think parents used to really do as I think from my point imagine leo nimepata 9, because 9 bado ni easy, ndio. And then kesho nikuja nimepata 15. Most parents can't they don't say, parent want to see that grade move, but it's so hard for that. You need to really encourage these individuals and tell them, man, now that you've moved from 9 to 15, I think you can do it. You can do it. Keep on doing it. Keep on. That's what I'm saying. Your practice makes perfect. Some kama mimi imagine matoka 9 mpaka 15. Do you think that's perfect?
But it's progress.
It's progress, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can't see it from this point of imagine. Unaweza pata for me to get this 15. I went out of my way and I did it consistently. Nimejikaza mpaka nimepata 15. But now they don't see it as perfect.
Let me get into that kidogo. You see, when you move from 9 to 15 and you want it to be seen as perfect, it means you're now at your comfort zone. Wacha nimalize. It now feels like you want to be at your comfort zone. What I'm saying is, practice makes perfect is you're working towards something. The highest attainable thing when you talk about high school mathematics is, say, 100. So when you move from 9 to 15, that is good. You've worked. So try to work from 15 to at least 16. Don't settle on 15 and say that see, this is perfect.
No.
You are still working afterwards.
Yes, I want you to say it from this point. I don't want it to be. I'm not looking for someone to tell me now 15 is perfection. No, because obviously it's not perfection. But at the same time, it might be perfection for this someone who has never even gotten this 15. Amejikaza their lives. It's so relative.
That's very nice. That's why if we say it's relative, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Because you I feel like ni kama kusema, you see the way we say good is relative, but some people's good is bad.
Yeah.
So are we saying it's still good because they claim it's good?
And I think it depends. It depends on what makes you happy. So if by you working towards that 15 una feel hapa niko sawa, work, be happy with your 15, and then now you don't settle on that, you continue
exactly
working hard.
now
okay,
now let me tell you one thing, because I've talked about this is something that's attainable, the highest attainable. I think that's one thing where we go wrong as a society. There's this standard it's set to the best attainable in math is 100. Do you know there are people who really struggle in their lives, and to say to kweli, there are people who will never get there. You've had stories of mtu amepewa mwa Kenya na bado afiki huko. Like for them to the highest attainable mark, not everyone will reach there, and it's something that society has placed there to give us a lot of pressure. Why don't you see it this way? Yeah, this 100 is there, it's the highest attainable, but at the same time ukipata 40 it's fine.
Anchi wanted to respond.
So whatever Calvin is saying is that there is no perfect.
Yes, technically that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That's what you're saying.
Let me just
because you want progress, and okay, kupata 100, it may take
you show off.
It may take you time.
Yeah.
Hapana.
Ujipata 100.
Let me tell you something.
Bro, unajaribu kusema nini?
Unajua mimi nasema what I started by saying perfect is what you define it to be.
Yeah.
So the highest attainable perfection in mathematics is 100.
And we don't want that. I think that's the one thing we want to cancel out completely.
Let me finish. That doesn't mean that is your perfect. That is not my perfect. My perfect is 40, as you were saying. So if I get to 40, hapo mimi nikwambia mimi niko sawa. Lakini usiseme, you want to say it's relative and but yeah, so if I work towards that and I feel like unajua nikifika hapo, what that will mean is nimefika 40, I can like now try getting to 60. So I try working to that. I try getting to 80.
Okay, you see, then I think we should just get rid of the word perfect.
Yeah,
because the problem is the word. Hata tukiangalia Oxford Dictionary, uwezi niambia ati unakuja kujiekea Calvin's Dictionary weke jina yako. If we are looking at the
if you're looking at look for the definition of perfect, okay, and then you look for the definition of practice makes perfect as an expression.
No, it's a
and
good.
Then you read and then you tell us what it is.
Sawa. So perfect is without fault or mistake, thoroughly skilled or talented. Practice makes perfect. See, now that's
an example. Yeah.
Higher, excellent and delightful. Unataka kusikia mathematics na nani, the perfect number. Anyway, so fitting its definition. Okay, that's like talking about a perfect circle. I think that's the definition that talks to us.
Now look for practice makes perfect as an expression.
Okay.
As he's looking at it, I think I want to put it this way. I think this is the one thing that makes us, I think, have these strained relationships as among some parents and their children. In this sense, like unazapata even in school, your parent has placed these level like this mark you need to reach in life. Unazapata whenever shule, the way you're supposed to behave, your parent expects you to behave in this sense because maybe to them they did that way and it worked out for them. So for them it seems like a mark they have set now for you. Wanataka like for you to follow up, like they want you to match up there. And for you unazapata whatever you're doing right now, you're doing your best. You're really trying your best. And for you, because you've done it, like you've practiced, like that's the result, man. For you,
and I think that's
you're
why,
happy with
that's why we are saying do not follow the society's expectation.
But how many? In as much as talking about it that way, do you know how many people struggle with it? Honestly, we can say
many
that
people
way.
do, and I'll keep on saying that is why we are here, to let people know that it is not that perfect the society sets. It's what you set. Acha some expression kwanza.
You see, the expression says, practice makes perfect. It's an idiom used to say that people become better at something if they do it often. listen, it is that used to say that people become better at something if they do it often. What we are not saying that. We are not saying that that's not what it means. Rather, that's not how some people take it. We are saying that there are also people who take it as
at the extreme.
Exactly. That's why what we want to emphasize on, it's practice makes progress. It's not about this
Perfection,
standard exactly. And I think we are saying the same thing. It's just that you want to emphasize on the perfect word, while us we are not. And I think my other issue with perfect is, for instance, if we were perfect beings, if we were perfect in that sense, or if the word perfect could be used to define us, I feel like it takes away everything to do with the power of the cross, the power of God in our lives. Like, it makes us feel like we can be good in God's definition of good within our own abilities, and I don't think that's even viable or possible.
That is perfect. Holistically.
No,
you looking at this person as perfect. We can all agree that the perfect being is Christ.
Yeah.
And so I'm not looking at it as I'm perfect. Mimi yani kila kitu yangu urefu iko sawa, yani meno iko sawa kila no. I'm looking at are
you saying you're not perfect?
No. Like, what I'm saying is I'm looking at a specific skill, not like as a person.
Okay, it's a good thing. I think we shouldn't look at it from this point where we just focus on the skills alone. That's why I'm bringing the parent and the child situation, because this is like now just to get back to what you are saying, as parents or as an individual, you shouldn't conform to what the society says, that you should go with what you believe is good. Now let me ask you a simple question. Imagine someone who's under their parent at high school, someone who's in the high school. Do you think they have that choice to do it? No, it's so hard when you are under your parents paying a school fee, and your parent is there is telling you, man, you need to match up to what I'm going to tell you, because I'm the one who's paying the fees here. Because
explain Angie unasema aje before I demolish your statement.
So for me, I'd say there are some parents who would understand,
but not a good number of them, honestly. Ask out there, do your research and have finished.
What you just need to do is just show them the progress, how you've been progressing, and maybe you put some targets, then you try to accomplish the targets.
Now I think
then from there they'll be able to see your practice, acknowledging that you're becoming perfect.
Yeah,
you're almost becoming perfect.
It's a good thing, but now the problem comes in where I think society has placed this thing. Do you know how many times have you placed targets and you have achieved them? How many times, honestly, to be honest, how many times have you placed targets and you made it to them?
And then don't you think, I feel like sometimes looking at that statement, even how people use it, it might make you feel like, since I cannot be able to achieve this standard or goal that people have set, then I should there's no point in trying
working hard.
But instead looking at it in terms of practice makes progress, that emphasizes on what? On progress. If I'm better today than I was yesterday, that is more than enough. But you see, if his example, if he got 9% yesterday, today he gets 15 and it's not perfect, he'll be like, but see, there's no point. But like, if you're looking at it in terms of continuous progress is what we are focusing and celebrating, then that is the point.
Exactly.
I think they have said a nice point, celebrating. But the only thing you can do for yourself as an individual, celebrate yourself. Do you know society might never?
That's the point.
Yeah, society might never celebrate. Society might continue giving you this pressure. Society might expect a lot of from you. Like your parents might expect, because your parents won't sit down with you and fry. No, they will be like, "Bado hii ni E. I don't want to see this E. I want to see it move up. I'm paying the fee." The only thing you can do as a person, celebrate yourself.
Is that possible to celebrate yourself?
Yeah.
Thank you. Then you've come back to my side.
No. Wait. Let us listen.
Because now, why are you celebrating yourself?
It's because
of the progress.
You've progressed. Yeah. You've gotten to something. If in as much as this is what perfect looks like to me, and hapa nimejaribu, si ndio? So what that means is you've set your own standard of perfect, and you've not dependent on society. Kwa hivyo nimefurahia, asante sana.
No. Look at it from this point now, Calvin. In as much as let me say, I decide even to agree with you. Now, how many people celebrate themselves? How many times do people out here who are deemed like they're not working hard celebrate themselves when their parents, when society is against them? How many people?
You've just said it's possible to celebrate yourself.
No, it's possible, yeah, but that's what I'm asking you. How many people out here, when everything that's around them is against them and they're making this little progress, how many of them, how many, how many times do you tend to celebrate yourself when everything, in as much as making this little progress, but the society expects a lot of you, how many times do you say, man, but I'm moving? Because these external pressures, I think one thing you need to tell people is that, like, celebrate yourself, and I think then anarudi kwa point yako, but I wanted to say it this way.
Unakubali, unakuja, unaona, I see even nataka kusema this is not my point.
But I look at it from this point, so that pressure really makes it worse, and I think it gets to most of us. We can't go past the pressure. That's why when the society is against you, I think the one thing you tend to do now, you start being against yourself too.
Okay, so technically we're saying the same thing. It's just that you're insisting on perfect, while us we're saying you cannot change the definition of perfect. You can't. It's not dependent on a subject or someone. It is, the definition of perfect has been put, full stop. So it is either you attain it or you decide that what matters to you is the progress, which I think is what you're saying, that progress is what is important. Yeah, so there we're on the same page. Now, you don't want to look at it necessarily just holistically, but let's say in terms of in our lives, do you think that perfect, I think we've touched on that one. What I wanted to ask is, do you think there are certain areas or aspects in our lives that you can attain perfection? The perfection, not your definition of perfection, like the actual definition of perfection. Do you think that there's any place we can be able to attain it?
Without blemish?
Yes, without blemish.
Ooh. Without blemish.
Without blemish.
There's no way that you can be able to be perfect in anything, or you can't be perfect, because if you want to be perfect, it means you don't want any problem. Like, no one should even judge that thing and look at it and say, this one is wrong. But to do that, it means you have to please
everyone.
You have to please
to be on the same page with everyone.
Yes. So that's not possible.
For me, I agree with Angela. I don't think there's anything that you can achieve perfection. If you are going to go by the definition of perfection the way it is, I don't even think there's anyone who has achieved your perfection. If you're going to look at the mortal world, I don't think there's anyone who has come close to even achieving it.
I think achieving perfection.
Swali.
Okay. Achieving perfection is very possible. You can achieve perfection. The question would be whether there is any mortal man who has achieved that perfection.
There's none.
Now I'm saying, okay. If something has never happened, does that remove the possibility of it not happening?
No, it doesn't. What I'm asking, is there an aspect? So in which aspect can one be able to achieve perfectionism?
I think almost all aspects of life, you can achieve perfection.
Okay, would you say there's a time in your life you achieved something and was perfect?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yourself.
I say.
Yeah.
Perfect? No.
Improvement? Yes.
Improvements, yes. That's why
exactly.
I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. No. What I'm saying is, achieving perfection is very possible. The question would be whether there's any man who has achieved perfection.
There's no man who has ever achieved perfection.
Let me ask you, if in the 2000, because this is 2000 BC, if over the 2000 years, other than Christ, there's no man who has ever achieved perfection, it is still attainable.
But I think what society sets as a standard is something that has been reached before. I don't think it's you can't set something that is very unachievable. Of course, there's someone who has gotten there.
But but now the definition of it. Do you know the definition of it? Honestly, if you are going to go with the definition, X.
The definition of what?
Perfection. There's no one who has attained that perfection. There are standards where the society has placed. There are standards. There are key points where you are supposed to reach. But the definition of perfection.
But do you agree that some people might have reached those points?
Yeah, the points are there.
That's perfect for them. We've just agreed that perfection. Okay, I've not agreed, but you've just been saying. You've just been saying that perfection is the universally set standard of perfection, and you've just said that there are people who have gotten there, so they are perfect in those ways.
Okay, maybe just to wrap it up and just to encourage people who are really struggling with this thing of perfection, even if it's a parent who's watching or anything, I think one thing we can tell them is perfection is really, really hard to attain. And in this sense, even in as much as we want our children or our friends or even our brothers, our sisters, our parents to be perfect. Yeah, but then you can even look at it from our point where really pushing our parents to be perfect, and they can't do that. I think the one thing we can use as a reference is the Bible. Look at those people who God called. Those people even who are considered to be great in the Bible.
Yeah.
Just tell me one person who was perfect.
Exactly. I feel like if looking at perfect and wanting to be that, it can be in a skill, or it can be in a, but like let's say you being a perfect child, a perfect friend, a perfect son. You know, wanting that is not like it is possible to still be able to do great exploits and be used by God and be able to fulfill your purpose that God has created you for without being perfect, because in our own abilities we can't. I think, and that's why I was asking, do you think that there's a perfection standard that you can attain? Christ is the only one who was perfect.
Exactly.
And in our own abilities, in our own sisi kuwa wana wa Adamu, we can't. And it is only through, I don't even think we can, it is that we say God is one, it is only Jesus who was good, and we can't even get to that. Like the righteousness that we have is given to us, you know. So I think for us to even be good, or for us to, I don't think we can attain perfection, but to even get anywhere close to that is through God's grace and God's ability, and trusting him and being able to, you know, leave it to him to make you that.
That's a good one.
I think perfection is attainable. And that doesn't mean that God calls perfect beings. If God were to call perfect beings, then hakuna mtu angeitwa. That I agree. But now that is looking at perfection as a person. If I want to be perfect in playing the guitar, I can be perfect in playing the guitar. And I will constantly work towards that. So as I close, I think what I'll agree is, number one, the first step is progress. So the moment you see yourself working towards that, then you're getting there. You will get to the perfect which the society has said someday. Now, to our parents and ourselves, I think you've insisted on people not, like, it's so hard to for our parents to understand that this is the most we can do. Kwa hivyo, that I agree with you, that let's embrace progress and let's see ourselves getting there. Yeah.
With regards to me, I'd also agree with what Calvin is saying. The progress is what matters, and so for anyone,
I think let us embrace progress. As we're doing whatever we're doing, let us embrace progress, because I think in the end, society will always be there with these standards to keep us, to try and really push us aside, really put us on a board where you can't. Okay, for me, I'd say this to finish up. I think we should really embrace progress, because progress, I think it's something that we can attain. Perfection, we can never attain perfection, but progress is something we can really attain in the end. So, and for anyone, parents, us, because at the same time we always put pressure to our parents, I think for us, I'll say this, man, society, in as much as it's there to give us this pressure and give us these standards that we're supposed to live with, choose what you want in this life, because it's always funny. You came into this world alone, you live this world alone. The day utakuwa pale judgment day, utakuwa peke yako tu. So live your life, enjoy it, but according to God's word.
I think I'll say, one, I agree with all of you guys that progress is what counts, progress is what matters. But I would also say, on top of that, sometimes trying to strive for perfection gives us the power. It makes us feel like we can do it on our own. And I feel like now that is where tunapotea njia. But being able to rely on God, knowing that even as you're doing this practice, even as you're doing things to make progress, it is not through your own strength and ability. Going back to God and knowing, I want to be good at playing the guitar, but still, even in the mundane things that needs our effort and work, it's not by our own strength and works. So yeah, so I'd say don't rely on ourselves, don't put sema ni by my own strength that I can be able to do things. Trust in God as you do it. And then also, I think acknowledging that you cannot be perfect gives you freedom. Like there's like a relief, that, this is not something I can attain, but this progress counts. Like it frees you from, I don't know, either wanting to meet society expectations. It frees you from this whole burden of, oh my gosh, I am not at this particular place. And it helps you be able to acknowledge where you're at. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to say. Anyone else with anything to add?
Set your own standards of perfection. Do not follow what society says. Practice makes perfect is an idiom, not a statement, not a word. It's an idiom.
Okay, I feel like today things got so heated. Hata watu hawaongei.
We're just living we're just in our heads.
I know everyone is just like, hey. Yeah. We will strive, keep relying on God. So that is it from us as usual. Down there, click the red button.
Tunafanya mambo. Good stuff. Leo hii sasa tumenionyesha mambo kwa hivyo. Yeah. Just subscribe, man. Our socials are always open. Pale fanya mambo yako. Thank you so much.
Mbarikiwe. Until next time. Bye.